So your electricity in your motorhome will choose the most awkward time to fail. It's normally when it's pitch black, you've driven miles to your site, and you get there and you've got no power. If you've been there, or before you've even got there, then hopefully this video will help you to understand how to check your electrics on your motorhome. Ooh. Okay, so there's two primary inputs of power into your motorhome. You've got your leisure battery, which is your 12 volts, and then you've got your main cable, your mains power cable, which gives you your 230 volts. That's UK. The US will know it as 240. Typical Americans like to have slightly more. But so it's your mains cable that gives you your 230 volts. That will work in most vans your 3-pin plugs. It's 230 and it's earthed. So things certainly like your heaters, coffee makers, kettles, toasters, etc. That's more than likely going to require at least 230 volts, and that's going to give you and you're going to get that from mains. I'm keeping this simple. I know you're all shouting inverters at me, but let's just keep this very basic. Your 12 volts, which comes from your leisure battery, that's mainly for your water pump and your lights. But again, make sure you know in your van what items work on 12 volts and what items work on mains. So if you've got one of these, which takes your main cable and enables you to plug into mains, you can plug your motorhome in at home and test all the electrics out while you're on the drive before you go away. Top tip. Now when plugging your cable in, run the cable through your hand. Don't just let them drop. That way you're physically and visually checking the cable, make sure there's no cuts, no nicks, no nothing like that. Sometimes the wire can get caught into doors. Just run your hand through, just make sure the cable's okay. You can normally feel as well just by running it through your hand if there's a cut or anything like that within the cable. And then you at least know if you've got two cables, which I did have two cables. One I always kept in the van, one I used to plug in Millie when I'm at home. Now I only use the one cable because not only am I powering Millie up while on the drive, I'm also checking the cable, and it's just a simple case of disconnecting the cable, getting to site, and then I know that the cable's okay because I've tested it at home. So that's one thing, just to double check. Mains cable very rarely go faulty, but it's worth always double checking. Now this is where the mains come in. That's my main fuse. This is a trip switch. Just test that when you're on mains. What that does is that should flick that down. You may have one or two or maybe more of these fuses. Work out which one does what by just turning them off and finding out what things in your motorhome stop working. And then if they're not labelled up, label them up. Millie's quite simple. These are just the sockets, left and right hand side. So if you can put your motorhome onto mains before you go away, it's great, because what it does is it provides you an opportunity to test everything out, check all your fuses, your lights, your power, give your leisure battery a bit of a top up if, like me, my solar's parked in a shadowy spot, so I can't always rely on my solar. So it's always good just to give my leisure batteries a bit of a boost over the evening before we go away. And if you've seen my video about the 3-way fridge, it's always good to have the 3-way fridge on mains before you go away. It really gets it cold, even if you're going away off grid and you're using the gas. I highly recommend just putting it on mains just to get your fridge nice and cool. Also means that if you are driving to your destination and it's some distance away, your fridge is already at a cold temperature. Your 12 volt, if yours does work on 12 volts when you're driving, isn't really, it keeps it cool, it doesn't get it cool. So by plugging it into mains, what that does is it just gives you that extra boost on your fridge. So highly recommended. Even if you've got to lay up an extension cable, I'm quite easy, I can just plug straight into the garage, but really try to get it onto mains before you go away. That does check a lot of things. However, when you are on mains, that's the great opportunity to go around, start checking all your fuses, your switches, etc. If you don't know where they all are, spend some time looking for them. I'm going to explain to you where they are on Millie, but they're going to be slightly different on your motorhome. But find them on your motorhome and check them. And this is what I do. Now, all control panels are different. This is a very old one. What this does is I can check my 12 volts, make sure my lights are working. That's on towing, that's on site, so that's running directly from mains. And then that puts on, that charges my battery. And from experience, I know if I leave this on too long, it doesn't really trickle charge, and for some reason doesn't switch off. So it was damaging my battery. So on Millie, I don't leave this on all the time. But this is checking that mains power, all my lights work. There is fuses inside here, and by checking everything, what I've done is I've taken the fuse box off and checked all the fuses in the past. So find out where all your fuse boxes are. In Millie, it's only just in here. Don't forget to turn everything off. Now, manufacturers hide leisure batteries all over your motorhome, normally under seats, in your dining area, or with Millie, or with the older types, they tend to have them inside their cupboards. But make sure you know where your leisure battery is. Some of the leisure batteries, in fact most leisure batteries, will have an inline fuse. Make sure that's okay. And also make sure you carry spares. That's a good point. Make sure that every single fuse you have in your motorhome, you have a spare, because guarantee it will blow. Now, in the older vans like Millie, they're glass tubes. You can get them from Halfords sometimes, but you definitely get them on eBay. Just make sure you've got spare fuses for all the fuses in your van. Some of the modern vans have got a lot of fuses. Make sure you have spare ones for all. So if you get to site, you plug your mains cable in, you get into your motorhome, you've got no power. First thing I would check is the actual connection on site. Every site I've been to, sometimes they're slightly different. Sometimes you've got to push it in, turn it clockwise, anti-clockwise. There's normally a button to press. Always just double check that you follow the correct instructions. Normally the site warden will explain to you how you plug them in if it's any kind of weird and wonderful ones. A lot of the camping caravan and site ones, I've noticed, you've got to push them in and turn them just to engage them. So make sure you've plugged it in correctly. Follow the correct instructions. What about inverters, DK? What about inverters? Yes, okay, I'm trying to keep this simple. Yes, you can run mains items, 230 volts, off your leisure battery by using a inverter. And what that inverter does is it steps up your 12 volts to 230 volts. However, it takes a lot of power out your batteries, but you can do it if you've got multiple batteries, etc. This was just to keep it basic. But if your van does have an inverter, then you will be able to run your hair straighteners, etc. off your leisure battery, depending on the wattage of your inverter. So that does complicate things slightly. But again, if you have got an inverter, there's going to be fuses, etc. So make sure you know where all your fuses are, what all your electrical equipment is, what it does. Spend some time, a few hours, if the van's new to you, spend a few hours with your van getting to understand where everything fits and what everything does. Once you know where everything fits, you'll be able to troubleshoot any electrical problems easier. And we'll cover electrical problem troubleshooting in a later video. So there you go. Kept it rather simple. But your electric system in your motorhome is really simple. Now, if you don't really know what you're doing 100%, then do get someone qualified to come and check your electrics out in your van, especially if it's a new van, new to you. Then it is worth just checking all the electrics out for you and make sure everything's okay. Don't go like I did, start cutting cables and nearly electrocuting yourself. I mean, I was ripping out mains cables thinking it was 12 volts while plugged into mains. So I'm an idiot. Don't do what I do. However, luckily, it fused the van out before it killed me, and I was able to work out which fuses did what. So don't make the mistakes I did. Spend some time with your van, work out where all your fuses are, where your fuse boxes are. Guarantee that fuse will go when it's the worst convenient time impossible. So you're going to lose your power in the middle of the night. Well, as I say, normally 95% of the times where we've had issues when we've pulled up on site, it's because I've not put the connection, the mains cable in correctly at the location, or a fuse has blown in the main controller box. That's only happened to me once, and that took all our sockets out, but we still had lights. Always make sure you've got a torch and head torches, and you can never have too many torches. I have loads of torches. I make sure they're easily accessible. Mine's on a piece of Velcro just on the side of the door, so I know exactly where it is at all times. And then we have hundreds of torches laid around Millie in drawers and cupboards, etc. We also have a lot of the lights that light up when you open them. They're all battery powered, so we've got a lot of light in Millie just in case the lights in the van fail, so be prepared. So if you find anything useful in this video, then please comment below. If you've got any other tips for new motorhome people or new van people about their electricity, etc., then please comment below to help the new people in the community. And please comment below if you think what I'm talking about is absolutely rubbish. Please interact. It's as much your channel than it is mine, so please comment below. And if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to subscribe. If you've not subscribed and you're watching all my videos, it doesn't cost you anything, but it really does help me out, and it encourages me to make more and more videos. Please also like the little thumbs button. Again, that encourages me and makes me very happy, and it's a nice thank you for me putting the time into making these sort of videos. And comment as well. I love reading the comments, and I do answer every single comment. So catch you